Hi guys, and welcome to our Premier League 2020-2021 mid-season review. So yes, I am back with several of my other football friends to do our mid-season review for the current Premier League season. Now, as you can see, this is not a Zoom call like we did for our season predictions and our season review last season. No, unfortunately, we weren't able to do a Zoom call this time around. So instead, what we're going to be doing for this video is, for our mid-season reviews, we're still going to be talking about how we think the season has gone so far for our teams. We'll be changing and talking about our top 5 predictions, bottom 3 predictions for relegation. I'll be joined by Callum, of course, who'll be talking about Newcastle. I'll pitch his video in later. We will be joined by Luke, who is a newcomer to the channel. He's a good friend of Callum's, and he's going to be talking about Arsenal, big Arsenal fan. Unfortunately, no James with us today, sadly. He was unable to make the video, but we're hoping he can join us for the season review. There will be video chapters in the description, so feel free to just take a pick on what you want. So if you want to just get to Callum, with Newcastle, if you just want to get to Callum with Newcastle, Luke with Arsenal, or me with Liverpool, just feel free to click below. If not, just give it a watch. So since James sadly cannot be with us for this video, we're going to start with Callum with Newcastle United. So Callum, take it away.
Well, it is my turn. Hello again, everybody. Here we are. Time to talk about the Toon Army. Wearing the alternative kit today, of course. And it also has my name on the back. So, what can I say about Newcastle? Okay, so I predicted them originally to finish 12th place, which was obviously quite optimistic at the time too. We are currently 16th, actually 15th now, I believe, after Burnley earlier on goal difference, but we are on 22 points, 6 wins, 4 draws, 11 losses, which is not bad. It's fine, generally it's not bad. The start of the season was good. We beat West Ham on the first day of the season. We drew with Tottenham. We beat Burnley. We beat West Brom. We were closer to European places than we were to relegation places. And then we went on a bit of a downhill spiral. Now we were the sort of the team that was hit the most by the coronavirus. First of all, have to close our training ground. Lascelles, Fernandez, Hayden, St. Maximin, they all had COVID, and St. Maximin had the long, Lascelles had the long COVID, and he was out for an awfully long time, which might explain our sort of dip in form as well. So anyway, we beat West Brom 2-1 on the 12th of December, something like that. Since then, or November even, I'm not sure. Since then, we had played 11 games in all competitions, and we had lost 9. We had lost 9 out of 11 games. One of them was to Brentford in the Carabao Cup. One of the other losses was to Sheffield United, who had 2 points all season, and we lost to Sheffield United. Out of a possible 27 points in the Premier League from the last 9 games, we picked up 2. We picked up 2 out of 27 points. Which, quite frankly, was just atrocious. There was no fight in the team. There was no attacking football. Steve Bruce played 5 at the back against Sheffield United. The tactics were all wrong. The players didn't seem in it. Nobody had any fight desire. We lost. Even defensively, something that we've been pretty strong at in seasons past. We've been not being very good this season. Everyone watched Steve Bruce gone. I was one of those people. Nobody wanted Steve Bruce to stay. And I still think he should go. Until yesterday, I was thinking about predicting Newcastle to be relegated again. But I'm changing that now, because we beat Everton 2-0 yesterday. And it was a great team performance. It was a great game. We have a new coach in, Graham Jones. Worked with Roberto Martinez at Wigan, Everton, Belgium. Sort of brought in that attacking style of football. And I think that he actually, although he's only been with the team a couple of days, made all the difference yesterday. Notable games this season. We did draw with Liverpool in our sort of 12 games without a win. That was 0-0. We beat Everton twice this season, which is something we haven't done. Well, we didn't beat them at Goodison Park for 10 years, and we did that yesterday. We drew with Tottenham, we drew with Wolves. A couple of top people that have been on the top 10 in previous seasons. We've got some decent wins and some decent matches out of this season. Callum Wilson. Let's just talk about Callum Wilson. He's been absolutely excellent. He went on about over 5 games, without scoring a goal, but he has 10 goals and 4 assists this season. We've only scored 21 goals as a team, which means he's been involved in 14 out of 21 goals. Now we talk about how Saint-Maximin and how much he does for the team, but without Wilson, we'd be missing 14 out of 21 of our goals. And the people with the highest goals after Wilson is Almiron and Hendrick, and they only both have 2. Dwight Gale and Andy Carroll, our other 2 strikers, have 1 each. And Joe Litton has 1, I think, or 2, I'm not sure. But even so, there's nothing that's comparing to Callum Wilson. Lewis, Jamal Lewis had a bit of a shaky start, but he's had a good game or 2 recently. Fraser had a lot of injuries, but he's getting back to what he used to be in his Bournemouth days, so, he's done pretty good. But honestly, I couldn't watch. I was struggling to watch games. Look at teams like Leeds and Brighton. They sometimes don't do as well, and they sometimes lose games. But the attacking style of football that they play, I wouldn't actually mind if we lost playing like that. But it was the constant sitting back. It was the no attacks. It was keeping 10 in the box, basically, while Callum Wilson was up by himself. Steve Bruce is just a tactical nightmare. And I think he should have been gone, a long time ago. And I still think that he should leave because Graham Jones has come in and we've looked better attackingly. I mean, we did in the second half of Leeds too, but is it down to Steve Bruce? I just don't know. There's people who think that he's going to get replaced by this Graham Jones person. Whether or not he actually wanted him to be there and whatever it is, I don't know. But Steve Bruce was just terrible. And the players just didn't, they didn't have any fight in them. I think we really missed Saint-Maximin, but now he's back. There's no transfers as of yet. We have been linked with Hamza Chowdhury of Leicester, Maitland-Niles, Anthony Maitland-Niles of Arsenal, Jetro Willems from Eintracht Frankfurt. Obviously, he was with us last season, but he got his knee injury, so he had to leave. He went back there. There's some person from Celtic as well that I believe we've been linked with. Matt Ritchie and DeAndre Yedlin. Both might be out the door before tomorrow's deadline, along with people like Atsu and Save and Lazar, who have not played, and they're all coming to the end of their contracts, which is good because we can get them off the wage bill. Both Longstaffs are wanted by different clubs, whether it's on loan or not, I'm not sure, but I mean, neither of them have been exceptional this season anyway. As always with Newcastle, we have to talk about the takeover. I did just see a report that the arbitration that they started with the Premier League, because obviously it failed, hopefully it's going to come to an end sooner rather than later. And people are optimistic. Amanda Staveley and the private investment fund of Saudi Arabia are apparently optimistic that a deal can be done. Now, I just don't know. I just can't see it. The relationship between Saudi Arabia and Qatar is getting better politically. That's great to see anyway, because obviously there's such a long-standing rivalry there, if you like. But how does that... I don't know. I'm sick of sort of seeing takeover stories and whether or not it's going to happen and whether it's not. But obviously Mike Ashley has been focused on that this whole time, enough to, give us any money, basically. So we'll see. Watch this space with the takeover. But I'm not on transfers, but I'm not, looking for anything too, much. Top 5, Chelsea 5th. They sacked Lampard. I thought that was really harsh. They brought in Tuchel. He's a good manager. But, I think, they did beat Burnley, but that's not difficult. Unless you're Liverpool, of course. So they'll go be 5th. Man United in 4th. They haven't got the squad to stay in the fight, I don't think. So, they're 4th. Leicester 3rd, unless they blow it and let Man United in again like they did last time. I can't see it. 2nd, Liverpool. And then 1st, Man City. I will talk about that in a little second. But relegation, Sheffield United. Who thought we'd see Sheffield United here? We were talking about them being in almost Europa League places last season, and now they're rock bottom. Yes, I know they got a win against Newcastle, and they've won against Man United too. So there's a bit of a resurgence there, but we'll see. 19th, West Brom, 18th, Fulham. So the bottom 3, as it currently stands, at the midpoint of the season, I think is how it'll end. Because I think Brighton... Well, I'll talk about Brighton in a minute, but yeah. Okay, let's leave it there, and we'll talk about Brighton. So Brighton, they're not going to get relegated because they play good football. They don't win games, which is a bit of a problem, scoring goals and things, but they have a progressive football. They're quite good to watch. So I think they'll eventually be fine. Newcastle, I'm hoping, obviously, will be fine. And I think I've seen enough from the Everton game to think that we will survive. Arsenal, so my friend Luke, I believe, is joining us. They made a worse start than Newcastle to the season. And we should have beaten them in the FA Cup. Bloody Andy Carroll couldn't finish his dinner. Sam Allardyce, when he was appointed West Brom manager, I thought that was harsh, by the way, sacking Slaven Bilic. He said that Arsenal were relegation rivals. But they've turned it around, Arsenal, with Saka and Smith Rowe and everything. They're exciting youth players that are forming the team around. And Odegaard as well. They've signed Martin Odegaard from Real Madrid just for the 6 months left of the season. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm quite excited by him because I know that he's obviously a very young and talented player. Hence he's been at Real Madrid for a long time, even though he has been out on loan a lot. And then we get to Liverpool. So Liverpool obviously have had Van Dijk injured all season. And Gomez injured all season. The thing is, I think Man City are too far ahead. 5-6 points, whatever they are, with a game in hand, I believe. I said at the start in our actual season, preview, that if, Liverpool's top players got injured, they would struggle, and they have. They have defensively, having Henderson and Fabinho, 2 centre mids in there all season. Also, Salah, Firmino and Mane just haven't been the same players this season. They haven't been able to score. As much as they had. I mean, at the start of the season, yeah, sure. Recently, they hadn't. Don't think they'd scored in about 6 games. Man City, I think, are back to the Man City of old. They're really going for it this season. So I think Man City will win the league. Unfortunately for Adam. But yeah, honestly, I went through a phase where I hated, watching games. Because we went 1-0 down within 10, 12 minutes. It was always 2-3-0, not even scoring a goal for most of that time either. It was an awful time to be a Newcastle fan. The worst run we've had since 2014. I still think Steve Bruce needs gone. He's not the one to take us forward. But I'm happy with with what I saw in the second half against Leeds and against Everton yesterday, to feel that we're going to be safe going forward. We have got Crystal Palace and Southampton this week, so hopefully we can pick up some points there, and put some space further between us and the bottom 3. But yeah, takeover, transfers, nothing really to report for Newcastle. Where would we be without Callum Wilson? At the bottom of the table, probably. 10 goals, 4 assists is unbelievable. So yeah, Steve Bruce can get out of my club. Also, Joe Litton, as a side note, hasn't been as terrible this year, but he hasn't played as much and is still bad. So I'll just leave you with that. On to whoever's talking next. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. So Adam's asked me to speak a little bit about Arsenal and what has went on this season at the Emirates. And yeah, so I'll start off by saying, the start of the season was looking pretty good for us. We just came off the FA Cup win against Chelsea and then ended up beating Liverpool on penalties in the Community Shield. After that, we played Fulham as our first game of the season. I think everyone was expecting us to win that anyway, but it's probably one of our best performances of the season, and definitely Willian's best performance of the season. I'll come on to him a little bit later. Willian provided a hat-trick of assists, and Aubameyang was finishing just as well as he was the season before. Scored a couple of good team goals. Signs were looking really positive. Game after that, played against West Ham, who were doing alright in the league at the minute. It was another pretty convincing win, 2-1. Could have gave away a penalty with Gabriel, but got away with that one with VAR. And then we beat Leicester City in the League Cup, which was another unexpected result for us, considering the league positions we're both in at the minute. Leicester in the top 4, Arsenal still 10th. And then it all seemed to come crashing down straight after that when we played Liverpool in the league at Anfield. And early signs were we were in the game. Lacazette scored the first goal of the game, I think, if I remember correctly. Adam will remember as well. After that, Liverpool just got into the game and wiped us off the pitch, really. And ever since that game, everything just went downhill pretty much. We just lost game after game after game until we came up against Man United at Old Trafford. I think it was Thomas Partey's first start for us. I'm not completely sure on that one. Absolutely bossed in the midfield. Bruno Fernandes was invisible for large amounts of the game. And we ended up winning with a penalty from Aubameyang, and I think that was our first win against a Big Six side away since 2015 when we beat Man City at the Etihad with a masterclass from Santi Cazorla. But then again, after that game, things just went straight downhill, and couldn't really see what was going wrong. We just couldn't create any chances, and we weren't defending well, to be honest. We were losing against teams you should be beating, like likes of Burnley, who were not doing great at the minute still. We're getting a couple of good results, but you would be expecting Arsenal, who are supposed to be a Big Six team, to be wiping them off the park. Yeah, it was just game after game after game of dire football, and nothing seemed to be working. There was a couple of bright sparks in there. Gabriel, centre-back signing from the summer transfer window. He was winning, I think he won our first free player of the month, despite how poor our defence was being, but it says a lot that he was pretty much carrying the whole defence at that time. Tierney was still dealing with a couple of niggles, so he wasn't a shoo-in at left back all the time. I'm pretty sure Saka played the majority of games at left back during that period. But he was another player who was consistently performing, Bukayo Saka, who I think will end up being our player of the season. Because once we got over this bad spell, the missing piece of the puzzle was that number 10 position, which is quite ironic considering we've left Mesut Ozil out the team for, I think, since before the FA Cup final. He didn't get back in, and then obviously he wasn't included in the Premier League squad or the Europa League squad. But anyway, we filled that number 10 position with a youngster who's been around for a while at Arsenal now, Emile Smith-Rowe, who has played quite a few games in the Europa League for us over the last few years. He's also spent little periods on loan at RB Leipzig and Huddersfield, which was where he really impressed last season under Dan Cowley. He just brings something completely different to our team, a bit of energy, a bit of creativity, and his link-up play with Bukayo Saka, it's absolutely exactly what we needed. Little 1-2s around the corner, Saka getting on the end of everything, scoring a lot of goals recently. Them two know each other quite well from the academy, haven't played together for a number of years. I'd say at least 7 or 8 years they've been playing together in the 21s and under 23s, etc. The games have been going pretty well for us since that game against Chelsea, when Smith Rowe first came into the first team. He blew them away 3-1, and then I think since then we've been 6 games undefeated, and the only draws we've had were against Man United and a poor one against Palace at home, but can't win every game, but still happy to be unbeaten after the dire performances we're putting in prior to that Chelsea game. Long may it continue, really. I think our best players this season definitely been Saka, Smith Rowe and Kieran Tierney. I'm looking forward to seeing them all back in the team, because obviously that game against Man United yesterday, it was only Smith Rowe who's involved, and Aubameyang's having to quarantine after coming back from visiting his sick mother abroad. So we've got a few players that are still to come back into the team, and hopefully things are looking up for us. In regards to the bottom 3 this season, I think it will stay exactly as it is now, with Fulham, Sheffield United and West Brom. I like what I'm seeing occasionally from Fulham. They beat, obviously, Leicester quite recently, and they're putting good performances against Liverpool and Chelsea. It's just sometimes they don't have that quality of player to be putting chances away, and not great defensively, but I think they could mount a great escape, but I'm not completely sure about that. In regards to the top 5, I think it'll be, well, I think it depends on next week's game against City and Liverpool. Who wins that? Who will go on to win the title? Right now, I think City are the ones, because they're doing really well defensively and winning games, a lot of games by 1 goal. And they've still got Kevin De Bruyne and Sergio Aguero to come back into that team as well, so things are looking exciting for them. In regards to Liverpool, they've just had a good win against West Ham, and they've still got a lot of players to come back into that team as well, with Mane being out today. Obviously, the likes of Van Dijk and Gomez probably won't be back before the end of the season, but I still think they're good enough to be challenging for the title. I think they need to get Henderson and Fabinho back in midfield, because they do miss them there in the big games, I've noticed. But yeah, I still think they're a very, very good side to watch, and I think they will be up there at the end of the season. In 3rd place, I think it will be Man United. They were on a very good run. Well, they were top of the league for a couple of weeks, but things seem to have taken a dip after that loss against Sheffield United and a draw yesterday against the Arsenal side, missing quite a lot of the main players. And in 4th place, I think I'll have to give it to Leicester City. They're doing brilliantly under Brendan Rodgers. They've got some great players in Jamie Vardy, James Maddison. Doing very well in defence as well. That Fofana and Soyuncu, Johnny Evans. Don't seem to be missing Chilwell at all, so that's really good for them. Controversially, in 5th place, I'm tempted to say Arsenal. If they can carry on the form that they've got right now, with the players to come back in the team that I mentioned before, Tierney, Saka, Aubameyang, mix that with Smith Rowe and our new loan signing, Martin Odegaard. I think things could be looking up, but we do need some big results against some of the teams above us to get us into that position. I've already mentioned a bit about Liverpool, so I'll mention a bit about Newcastle for Callum. I think the start of the season, they were playing pretty well. They were a solid mid-table. They were above Arsenal. And they're getting a few good results. Callum Wilson was firing. I do think they've missed Saint Maximin massively, because without him, there's just not that spark there. There's not that special player who will create something out of nothing, like the likes of Aubameyang at Arsenal, the likes of Salah or Mane at Liverpool. They haven't had that player for a few weeks, and I'm sure Colin will be happy to see him back in the team now. I'm sure it'll take a couple of weeks for him to get back to his best, but yeah, I think things might be looking up. They just got a good result against Everton, clean sheet as well. So yeah, I think Steve Bruce might. Well, no, he will keep his job because Mike Ashley isn't going to sack him and have to spend a bit of money on getting a new manager in and paying his contract off. But yeah, I think things are still looking good for all three teams, in my opinion, in the league. Might have been different if Newcastle got a hammering yesterday, but no, there seem to be some signs there that they're going to be improving, and yeah, we'll see how things go towards the end of the season. And hopefully I'll be a little bit happier when the season's finished and things might be looking a bit better for Arsenal. We're already knocked out of the League Cup and FA Cup, so our chances of silverware aren't looking as good this season as they were last season with the FA Cup win. But we're still in the Europa League, but there's lots of good teams in there now, so it's going to take some good results if we're to be lifting that, but that would be an excellent thing to win an automatic qualification to the Champions League again, which is where a team like Arsenal belong, really. Yeah, hopefully I'll see you soon, and thanks for listening.
Okay, well, thank you, Callum and Luke, for their videos. I hope you all enjoyed them. So now it's my turn to talk about the mighty Reds. But before I do that, I just want to quickly give my predictions for where I think Brighton, Newcastle, and Arsenal will finish this season. So Brighton, you know, they're just above the relegation zone. I think it is tricky. Okay, I think they'll just stay up. Brighton, you know, I can't believe I predicted them to finish 11th in our season prediction video. What was I smoking? You know, Brighton aren't going to finish 11th. No way. I think they'll just stay up. I think James said this a while ago. They're not bad enough to go down. They're just about good enough to stay up. So yeah, I think Brighton will just about stay up. I'd say 16th for Brighton. Yeah. Newcastle, you know, they went on an absolutely terrible run of form, which looks like they're coming out of now with that win over Everton yesterday. Thank you. But can they sustain it now? Can they keep this good run of form going under Steve Bruce and their new first team coach, as Callum said? We will see. You know, they've jumped up to 15th now, but I think it's going to be tight. You know, if they can keep this good run of form going, definitely. But if they start to slide back down again, they could go into a relegation battle. But I think Newcastle will be okay. I think, yeah, they had a bad run of form, but when you look at that squad, you know, Wilson, Fraser, St. Maximum, who's a great player, Almiron, that's a very good squad. You know, that's a good squad of players they've got. I think if they can just get them playing attacking like they did yesterday against Everton, they'll be fine. So I've got Newcastle to finish 14th, I think, for Newcastle. Yeah, I think they'll be okay. Yeah, 14th. And as for Arsenal, Arsenal have, well, you know, they got off to a good start, didn't they? Like you know, Luke said and all that, but then they went on that absolute terrible run of form where they were just losing, and it looked like they were sliding towards the relegation zone. But no, now they're on a good run of form under Arteta. They've won several games in a row now. They're currently 10th in the table. Where do I see Arsenal finishing? It's tricky, but do I think they'll get in the top 4, top 6? No, sorry, Luke. I just don't. I think the bad run of form they had really cost them. They lost a lot of points, and I think they've lost too much momentum. Because when you look at where they are right now, there's, you know, Everton, Aston Villa, Southampton, Leeds have all got games in hand. So I think it's going to be a tough old slog for them to try and get into the top 6. But right now, I've got Arsenal to finish 8th. Yeah, 8th. I think Arsenal will get 8th. And hopefully next season can be the season that, you know, they get back into the top 6. Yeah, but right now I've got Arsenal to finish 8th because I just think there's too many other teams in contention for the top 6. You know, Tottenham, Chelsea, Everton, Aston Villa, West Ham. You know, so it's going to be a tough old slog for Arsenal, definitely. So on to the mighty Reds. So yes, I do remember saying in our season prediction video for this year that this was going to be a much more competitive, much tighter season. And it's true, we've seen that now. This isn't going to be another season where we just run away with the Premier League like we did last year. 99 points. So this is going to be a much tighter, much more competitive season. And basically with the top six is constantly chopping and changing, and that's what we've seen for the first half of this season. It's been such a crazy season, so competitive, and I think this is going to be like the last 3 seasons. Last season where we just ran away with the league. The season before last, 18-19 season, where Man City and Liverpool were neck and neck for most of the title race. The season before that, Man City just ran away with the league. So it's not going to be like that this season. I think it's going to be much tighter. And we've seen that. There's teams that we didn't think would do as well. Everton, Aston Villa, West Ham have all done very well. Southampton, have all been pushing up there. So yeah, it's been a crazy season so far. Very unpredictable, but very, very different. But I think it's much more like it. Like I said, I think it's much more fun when when more teams are fighting for the Premier League title, and that's what we've seen so far, definitely. So on to Liverpool, yes, my boys, the mighty Reds. So yeah, so we had a good start. We had a very good start, actually. We beat Leeds 4-3 at Anfield. It was a great game. Then we beat Arsenal and Chelsea, great games. And we thought, okay, this is good. It's looking good. We're still looking strong. Can we retain this Premier League title? And then we went on to lose 7-2 to Aston Villa in one of our biggest ever away defeats. It was a massive shock. I was just like, I did a video on it and it got like over 2,000 views. It was crazy. But yeah, and we all thought, oh dear me. But then after that Villa loss, we seemed to get. I think we got back on the horse a little bit. That was just a massive one-off, the Aston Villa game, because then after that we went on to win quite a few games. However, then the injury crisis started. We lost Virgil van Dijk in the Merseyside derby thanks to a Jordan Pickford tackle. Then Virgil van Dijk was out injured for most of the season, which was a massive loss. I mean, you can't replace Virgil van Dijk. He's one of the best centre-backs in Europe. So, and he's been integral to the us winning the league last season and challenging the season before that, because he's just a rock in that defence. He's such an organiser. He's a leader. So losing Virgil van Dijk was just a huge loss, and it didn't stop there. We lost Joe Gomez to injury. Thiago and Jota, who of course came in the summer, we lost both of them quite quickly to injury. Several other first team players were out injured, and it was really bad. Despite this injury crisis, we kept cracking on, and I think we did really well. I think we've up to Christmas, it was great. We were winning games. We were looking confident. Quite a few scratchy wins, but thanks to Diogo Jota, we got some wins because Diogo Jota, since he's come in, has been fantastic. No, Jota, before he got injured here, I think he scored 5 goals in 9 appearances, and I think he got a few assists as well. So he's been great since he came in, Diogo Jota. Of course, he got injured in a Champions League group stage game, which we didn't even need to play him in, but whatever. So Jota's been great. So yeah, we were winning games, and then at the time, Tottenham were top of the league. When we beat Tottenham at Anfield 2-1, it was a big game. We went top of the league, and then we were top of the league at Christmas. It was fantastic, yeah. For the 3rd season in a row, we were top of the league at Christmas, and we were thinking, okay, despite our injuries, we can still do this. We can still retain this Premier League title, and we can win a 2nd title in a row. Come on, Reds. And then we got on to beat in Crystal Palace 7-0, one of our biggest ever away wins, and it was fantastic. We were in dreamland. We were thinking, yeah, we were top of the league. We're going to do it again. We are going to retain this Premier League. And then we went on a really bad run of form after the Crystal Palace game. I don't know what happened. I think whether it was a lack of confidence, lack of concentration, overconfidence, fatigue, I don't know. But something happened where we just went on a really bad run of form. I think we drew several games, we lost 2 games, we just started to slowly but surely slide down the table. So yeah, after the Crystal Palace game, we had a goalless draw against Newcastle. We got held to a draw by West Brom at Anfield. Then we lost 1-0 to Southampton away. And then we had a goalless draw against Man United. And then we lost 1-0 to Burnley at Anfield, which was a huge was a very bitter pill to swallow. Our 68 game unbeaten streak at Anfield came to an end. It was just It was like losing to Burton, and we all thought then, okay, this is looking really bad now. We've just lost to Burnley at Anfield, an Ashley Barnes penalty. Our 68-game unbeaten streak in the league at Anfield came to an end, and we were thinking, what is going on? We couldn't score. The front three just completely dried up. Salah, Mane, Firmino couldn't get a goal. There was a stat I saw. I think we scored like 1 goal in 90 shots. It was just, we just couldn't quite explain it. What was going on? Were we missing something in midfield? There were just too many draws. And when you look how many draws we've had this season, it's been far too many. We shouldn't be drawing that many games. If we want to successfully retain this Premier League title, we can't be having that many draws. We went 4 games without scoring a goal. 4 Premier League games without scoring a goal. We haven't done that in over 20 years. That was a huge shocking. Was that we're missing centre backs because we've had, I think, 16 different centre back pairings this season. That is just mental. I don't know. Was it 16? I know. I think at centre back we've been playing Fabinho, who is he's a midfielder. We've been playing Henderson, who's a midfielder, and they've looked like they've struggled at times. Even the Fabinho's done quite very well. We've had Nat Phillips and Reece Williams try and come in, but they're good. But are they good enough to be our first team centre backs? Not really. Joel Matip came in for quite a few games, but Matip's made of glass. He's been injured like 3 times, and he's out. I think he's out injured now for the rest of the season. So we just can't rely on Matip. He's too injury prone. So yeah, it was looking like, what's going on, man? It's starting to get quite worrying. If this form had continued, yeah, we could forget about the title. Finishing in the top 4 would have been a challenge. But luckily, it looks like we've turned a corner. We finally got back to the Liverpool we know. We had a bad run of form, and everyone was writing us off. But when you look at it, all the top teams this season have had bad forms. Everton, Spurs, United and City, Arsenal, Chelsea, they all had bad runs of form, and all up and down, and it was our turn too. All the top 6, the top teams have had bad spells this season, which have allowed the other teams to take advantage. Everton, Aston Villa, West Ham, Southampton, Man United are all doing really well this season. But it looks like we finally turned a corner now. We've got back to our best. We got back to the Liverpool we all knew and loved from last season. We beat Spurs out away, 3-1. It was a great performance, and we just absolutely dominated Spurs. That's the Liverpool I know and love. Now can we keep this good run of form going, heading in to February, March, April, and May? I think we can. I think if we can just get back to the way we're playing. Thiago's been a great addition. He's looked fantastic in the games he's played. I think he's just transformed our midfield. That's the reason we bought him. He is great, Thiago. Hopefully he can continue his great run of form. Obviously, when Jota comes back, which is looking very soon, we can maybe put Jota in for Firmino. If we can sign a centre-back just on loan, just to help with the centre-back issues just till the end of the season, that would be great. We can still challenge, We are currently 3rd on 40 points. We're only 4 points behind Man City, but of course they do have a game in hand. But don't forget, we're playing Man City very soon, so at Anfield. So if we can win that, and don't forget we're still playing Man United away. We've still got to play a lot of the big 6 teams home and away. So if we can win those games and get results, we are still in this title race. People are saying Man City could start running away with it, and that is possible. They're on a very good run of form at the minute, but I still think the title race is far from over. I still think if we're in the top 2, top 3, still in March, and it's still quite tight, we're still in this. So and of course, we recently today we beat West Ham. So let's do before I talk about Liverpool now. Where I think Liverpool will finish. Talk about my bottom 3 predictions, and my bottom 3 are currently the 3 who are there. I think they'll go down. Sheffield, they're only on 8 points. They're 10 points adrift of safety. I can't see them getting that. 2 wins, 2 draws, and 17 defeats. Poor Sheffield. I just don't think they're going to survive, which is really sad to see. But yeah, Sheffield will go down. 19th, I've got West Brom to go down. I just think, even though they've got Big Sam, they're just not good enough to stay in the Premier League. I don't think they're going to get too many draws, too many defeats. So yeah, I think West Brom will go down. Fulham, even though they play good football, I've seen a lot of the games where they played well. They gave us a very hard-fought game at Craven Cottage. I just think they can't quite finish games off. They can't quite score games. So, yeah, only 2 wins and 8 draws and 10 defeats. So I think Fulham will go down too, sadly. It's tight between Fulham and Brighton, but I just think Brighton will edge it and Fulham will go down. So, yeah, that's my current 3 to go down. Sheffield, West Brom and Fulham. And my top 5, so I will go from 5th. Who I think will finish 5th, I have got... It's so tricky. 5th, Everton. I think Everton will get 5th, despite the Newcastle game yesterday. I think they're playing very well under Ancelotti this season. So Everton, and they've got games in hand. So Everton get 5th. 4th, I have got Leicester. I think Leicester are doing very well this season. If they can sustain it, they'll get 4th. 3rd, big shout here. 3rd, Aston Villa. I think they could do it. You know, they're doing very well at the minute. They've got 2 games in hand, and they're currently 9th on 32 points. But if they win those, they're in the mix. And I think they're playing so well at the minute. So 3rd, Aston Villa. 2nd, Manchester City. And 1st, Liverpool. Come on! We can do it. If we can keep this good run of form going, if we can beat Man City at Anfield, if we can get back to the Liverpool we know and love, this title race is far from over. It's going to be tight. I do think whoever wins the league this season, it's going to be like 70, 80 points tops, because it's going to be such a tight competitive season. No one's getting 99 points this season, or 97 points, no. So, but I do think it's going to be neck and neck with us and City again, but I do think we can do it. If we can just get back to the way we're playing, like we saw against Tottenham, like we saw against West Ham this week, we can do it. So Liverpool to win the league, but I think it's going to be very tight with Man City. And yeah, so I think Man United... Maybe I'm just biased, but I don't think they're good enough now. I think they had a bit of a good run, but Man United, no, back down. Tottenham and Chelsea, maybe they get 6th or 7th. I don't know, but it's so tight. It's just so tight. This top 10, it's incredible. That Southampton, from 5th to 10th, there's only 4 points difference. Yeah, I know there's some games in hand, but it's just so tight. So I just do not know. I do not know, but that's my top 5 at the minute. Aston Villa to get 3rd. So yeah, guys, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope you enjoyed Callum's and Luke's. Hopefully James maybe will be back for our season review in May. So yes, because of course there's still what, 18, 17 plus games to go. A lot can and will happen towards the end of the season. So we will see what happens. We're going to retain the league. Come on. Champions again. So thank you for watching, guys. And I will be back, hopefully with 4 of us on Zoom, in the end of May for our season review. So thank you for watching, guys. My thank you to Callum and Luke. And we will see you all in May. Bye.